There's never been a better time to be a gamer. This is my entire collection of handheld systems. Hey Nintendo fans and collectors, Lithium here from my channel Nintendo Collecting, of course. I hope you guys are doing well, you're safe, you're healthy, and I hope everything's working out for everyone right now, but it's a great time to play some games. So you might have known from my collection and from my videos that I have focused mostly on home consoles. The reason why I focused on the NES, the Super Nintendo or Super Famicom, all the N64 variations, then the GameCube variations, the 5 different Wiis, including the Wii Mini down there, the Wii U, and then lastly now the Nintendo Switch, which is a good transition for both home and handheld systems. The reason why I focused on those is because there's a lot less of those systems for me to collect, especially in North America. When I look up all the different variations of these handheld systems online, every color variation of the Game Boy or the Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, DS, all the different Game & Watches, it is overwhelming, but there are some great collections out there. So if you have a collection of handhelds, I'd love for you to share your video with me. I'll take a look. Comment below if you have any questions, by the way, throughout this video as well. Now I have 3 smaller shelves here dedicated just for my handheld systems. I'm going to go through the main releases first, and then I'll go through all the special editions. So mostly what I've focused on is the main releases and Zelda systems, Pokemon systems, and any other system that looks really cool in my opinion basically that I could find locally for a good deal. Nintendo's handheld history and video gaming history goes back to the well, I guess there were some systems as well before handhelds. However, this is their first handheld, or one of their first handhelds, not the very first one. This is Donkey Kong number 2. On the back, just to give you an idea, this is older than I am, easily. This is from 1983. It says right here on the system. A little hard to make out, but 1983. This system in particular is from my aunts. So thank you so much for thinking of me. Thank you to my Aunt Vera, Uncle Mike, and Chris and Mark. This is what they gamed with growing up. This Game & Watch Donkey Kong number 2. This one has 2 screens on it. I love the theme and detail on this, and it has a D-pad. Nintendo's always known for their D-pads right down here, which is pretty cool going all the way back. So this one I got for free from my family. Not even sure if that works still. I need to replace the battery and check it out. I'll probably do that over this break. The other Game & Watch that I have here is Game & Watch Ball, but this one is from Club Nintendo. So you can see that it's from Club Nintendo because the front of the box looks almost identical to the original release, but on the top of the box, of course, it has the Club Nintendo seal right there, and a little bit of a story on the back. You are holding in your hands the game of the future, at least that's what we called it 30 years ago. Ball, the first installment of the Game & Watch series, has been faithfully reproduced and reissued so that gamers of the future can relive the groundbreaking technology of the past. This is our gift to you, Club Nintendo members, enjoy. Not for resale. So I guess the very first Game & Watch they ever made was just like this one with one screen, no D-pad. This one, I have not even removed the battery, the thing that protects the battery, basically, to keep this one basically brand new, but I have handled this before. If you have any Game & Watch systems, let me know. I would love to see them in your video or just to hear about them. That one I got from Club Nintendo itself, probably a decade ago, actually. I feel really bad that Club Nintendo's gone, by the way. I missed the Nintendo Rewards program that was physical releases. Next up is, of course, the Game Boy. Now this Game Boy I got from Jordan, who's my best friend. He got me both that one and the next system, so thank you so much to Jordan. This one has some stickers on it from EB Games, which is GameStop essentially. This one was $80, was $90, then it was $80. You can still see the sticker seal on the side there from Nintendo, but of course we have opened it up. On the back of this, just to give you an idea, this box is empty. So this must have been one of the released versions that was in store just for a show. I believe this one is from 1995, if my memory serves me right. You can comment below if you need to correct me on that. Now, this system is called the Brick. It has 4 AA batteries is what it required. It only had a green screen, so your choice of colors was just basically like this weird green or black. Great D-pad on this. The B and A buttons, yes, they are B, then A. They are reversed just like the NES controller, the select and the start button. On the side, we have the volume control, and where you could put in another, I guess, to do trades, you could plug in, and the batteries on the back. Now, this I did not play with growing up, of course. I said Jordan gave that to me. I did not have one of these as a child, but I did have a Sega Game Gear. I think I still have that buried in the room behind us. So now, with the Game Boy, there's a few things I want to mention. Instead of using those 4 AA batteries, you could use something called this right here, which is a rechargeable battery pack. This is also an AC adapter. This would clip to your hip, or you could use it in a fanny pack, as Nintendo is showing off right there. And when you clip this, you have more recharge basically to use with your system, only use with the Game Boy. So this is when fully charged, the rechargeable battery pack provides 10 hours of power basically. So 10 hours was not bad whatsoever with gaming. We don't even get that out of our Switch today. And along with the Game Boy, I also have a case for the Game Boy right here as well. And I'll go over some of the other items later in the video. After the Game Boy was released, the Game Boy Color. This is the Pokemon Yellow Special Edition, which is one of my favorite systems I have in my entire collection. This one has a lot of details on it. I'm just trying to find the year on the back of this. 1995 to 1999, it looks like. So sometime around 1999, this was released to coincide with the release of Pokemon Yellow. Now, the system itself, this is such a cool system, mostly because of the colors. We got a blue D-pad, green B button, red A button, the select and start buttons, they left the same, the logo. But up here, we've got Pikachu, Jigglypuff, Togepi, who's not even one of the original 151. And then up here, the power button itself is the Pokeball turned on its side, which looks really neat. Let's try and, I also had Pokemon Yellow in here, and the back is blue. When you turn on the system, you can see the Pokeball goes on, which is just really cool. I love that part. Great logo for the Game Boy with all the colors as well. Now, after the Game Boy Color was the Game Boy Advance. Now, the original Game Boy Advance, this is the SP version, but the original Game Boy Advance I do have down here in a different form. So I am just going to talk about this orange or spice version really briefly. Now, this form factor did not fit in your pocket that well. It's a little bit large, but it's no larger than like your DS or your 3DS or anything like that. It just didn't have the clamshell design. The D-pad's a little bit small for me, but overall the system is really comfortable. I love the L and the R buttons, and the best thing you get out of using this original system is a way for you to plug in headphones. Right here you can still use headphones, whereas the SP, there is a way to use headphones, but it's definitely not optimal. So let's take a look at this next system. This is the Classic NES Limited Edition, one of my other favorite ones in my collection, a new Game Boy Advance SP in a classic retro NES style. I would love for the Switch to come out like this, by the way. So this system here, it is a clamshell design, so it folds up. However, on this system, there's no real way, let me grab a different SP because I do have another one. There's no way to plug in your headphones. There's no jack for it. So you'll look around the system and go like, what is happening? But what you had to do was you had to charge your system up and then use these ports here, one of the ports here, to plug in an adapter to then use headphones. That's a bit of a disaster, but it made the system smaller. It fits in your pocket better. The screen they put on this was a little bit better. It wasn't always backlit unless you got the AGS 101 unit. So that's what you'll want to try and find. With the AGS 101, you turn your system around or you look at the photo for the system, and right up here it says AGS 001. That's not the one you want. You want the 101 system. So I do have a 101 system just to show you that really briefly, which I'll talk about later in the video. This one is Japanese, but it does have that backlit screen that's a little bit better. This is a special edition from 2002 that I will get to later in the video. So just be aware of that with the Game Boy Advance SP. If you're getting one, you want to get probably the AGS 101 model that has a backlit, much brighter screen, and be aware that you can't use your headphones that easily with the system. After the Game Boy Advance, which was 2000, did I say a year on that one? I'm not sure if I did. Let's just check out the year for this one just to make sure. Like 2003, 2004 Nintendo. The DS was next, and the DS, Nintendo really started dominating the gaming market with the DS and the Wii roughly at the same time. So again, this one probably does have a year on it, but it's probably on the bottom. I actually don't have the system itself, the original Nintendo DS. That is one of the things that I've been after for a little while. So this one is from 2004, 2005. I think just this system was released really late in the Game Boy Advance life cycle. It was probably earlier than that for the Game Boy Advance. But the Nintendo DS in Japan was released just a few years after that. Now, I don't have the original clamshell version that's a little bit larger for this DS. I just have this box because I bought it in a lot with several other empty boxes. What I do have is the Game Boy, not the Game Boy, but the Nintendo DS Lite right here. So this one is 2-screen, going back to the original Game & Watch that had several screens. However, with this system and the clamshell design, the top screen was just for show or just for looking at the game, not just for show. The bottom screen, though, was touchscreen, and both screens were really similar in size. Some companies, like some Zelda games, had bosses span across both screens. Some games, you could just maybe use this to like write down some notes. Sometimes it wasn't really used at all. In Mario Kart, it was a second map, which was really, really useful. You have the D-pad here. You have the A, B, X, and Y buttons now, so we have 4 buttons. We also have the speakers up there, the select and start button. You do have a port to plug in your headphones, the power button on and off, and then you have a spot for both DS games, and what was wonderful about this, Game Boy Advance games you could plug in on the bottom of the system. So I really like the DS Lite. It's not the only version. There's the original version, and there's the Game Boy DS, or the Nintendo DSi that I do have down there, which I'll talk about in a little bit, and the XL versions. Now, after the Nintendo DS and the success of that system, Nintendo didn't change too much, but they went to the Nintendo 3DS. This is, in particular, the 3DS XL. I don't know if I have an original 3DS system actually either. I might not, which is really strange. I have to get into my handheld collecting a little bit more. So on this system, we have the same idea as before. This is the Retro NES edition that was released only, I think, like 8 years ago or something like that. Let's try and find a date on the bottom of this box just to give me an idea for when this was actually released. Nothing down here, so let's just take a look. And this says what year? 2014 Nintendo right there. So in 2014, Nintendo added 3DS to these systems, of course, but they made the screens a little bit different as well because without having to wear glasses, these systems are in 3D. There's also the 2DS systems, which are kind of a part of this line, which don't offer 3D support. But look at how beautiful these screens are on these versions. This top screen is monstrous that has the 3D. So now on this system anyways, you have the D-pad. You also have a circle pad that you could use if you wanted during games. You have the speakers up at the top. You have the A, B, X, and Y buttons. But now you have start, home, select. You also have the power button on this version. It's on the side over here. Then you have a slider for the 3DS to go on and off on the side over there. And when we close up the system, oh yeah, there's a camera on top of the system too, which I think some of the DS models might have had. We have the L and the R buttons. We have our stylus. And in this case, these only worked with DS and 3DS games, but they did not work with the Game Boy Advance games. So just be aware of that drawback with this system, and you can plug in where your headphones go. So thankfully, they did go back to those. By the way, great stands. These stands that I have for most of my systems, a lot of them are themed, but not every single one. They are from Rose Colored Gaming. They've updated and modified their stands. So if you're wondering, where did I get all these really cool handheld stands from? That's where. So that's essentially where we are left off with handheld gaming for Nintendo. However, they do have a lot more other versions that we should talk about. So I would consider the Switch a handheld system, but it's a little bit handheld/home console, just like the Virtual Boy, which I have the box for down there as well. Those systems are better off to be played at home frequently, especially the Virtual Boy, but you can take them on the go if you would like. So just be aware of those. Now, other variations of those systems I want to talk about. So my Zelda systems. I have 6 of the Zelda systems, which is not all of them, but quite a few of them. So over here I have the Nintendo DS Lite Zelda Edition. This is the most recent thing that I've got from collecting. I bought this just before everything happened, basically, and it came in from Canada. It was $100. Not a bad price. I think it would be 80 or like 75 US dollars. So that's a really cool system, but it just has the Triforce and it's gold. Then the Nintendo 3DS. This is the original 3DS that I have, so I knew I had one of these. This is the special edition, of course. Beautiful artwork on the system itself. I love it. It has several of the items from the game, including the ocarina and a harp. Well, maybe the harp's not that important in the game, but Sheik uses the harp a little bit. The harp. Then we have a Link Between Worlds. This one has the light and dark version on the system, so I will just pick this one up and show this one to you. So on the bottom or on the back, we have the dark, I guess, Triforce, and then the other version of the Triforce, which is kind of upside down when you display it like this. So it's almost better if I display the system itself upside down. For now, I'll just put it back like that. Then after that, we have the new Nintendo 3DS XL version right here. So this one has From Majora's Mask. There is another version of this that I don't have yet that I would like to pick up that's from Zelda as well. So I got to get that one that's a gold system. Next up, the 2DS systems. I have two of them that are Zelda themed. We have the first one, which is the Hyrule Edition, or a Link Between Worlds Edition, sometimes called the Hylian Shield Edition. One of the most beautiful systems in my collection. I love this one with the red bird from, you gotta play it if you haven't, Skyward Sword, the Triforce, and it's embossed, so it's a little bit raised up. Then the 2DS for the green and gold. This one's for Ocarina of Time, but I must tell you that the gold isn't really gold. It's just like a very weird looking brown. So if you're going to get a 2DS system, consider getting one of these special editions. There are several of the special editions out there. I prefer this Zelda edition that's green, and a weird green, I would say, too. All right, after that, let's go through more of my special edition systems. We have two boxes that are from Kevin. These were Kevin's brothers growing up, so I really want to thank and shout out to Kevin right now. And I don't have the systems for those yet, or I might have one of them, but I lent them to a friend. Now, the systems down here, we've got two of them. We have the berry. No, it's not berry. Berry's a different color. Let me know. I think this is kiwi for the colors. I want to get the box for this eventually. And then we have Die Hawks. Now, Die Hawks is so cool. It's bright orange. It's clear, dark, dark black on the back. There is this console that matches this for the Nintendo 64, so I picked up just the system for that one. Then we have two Pokemon systems. These ones are the 3DS XLs. These ones are for Pokemon X and for Pokemon Y. So we have the red one and the blue one. I think the red one I got originally for my wife. She was playing with that one, you know, 6 or 7 years ago. And then I got the blue one more recently at a flea market swap meet. Maybe a game swap meet, I should say. Then there are 4 2DS systems for the release of the Pokemon games and celebration of the Pokemon games. So we have Pokemon Red, Green, Blue, Yellow, of course. Now, in North America, we did not see Green released, but these are the Japanese versions, and they come pre-installed with those games on the systems. And the stands are for the 20th anniversary of the games from gaming as well. So those systems are really cool. I bought those for like $100 each, but now the price went way up. I love those systems. They look really unique. And then I have this Pokemon Mini system. This is a small little guy. I love this little system. It's actually worth quite a bit of money, but someone donated this to my channel years and years ago, along with a few different games, which I should talk about in the future. So we have Pokemon Pinball or something like that I remember having, and this little system with the instruction manual can get up there. There's several different variations of these versions, but I don't know that much about this system in particular quite yet, so I need to do more research on that to talk about it more at length. And then we have a few more 3DS systems. These are 3DS XLs. We have the Smash Bros. Version. This one is the red one. There's also a blue one out there. We have some great characters on here. We got Link, Mario, Pikachu, Pit, Samus, Villager from Animal Crossing, so timely right now. I think Marth, Kirby, Little Mac, Yoshi, Rosalina. What a wicked system. I'm curious what is on the back. If you were wondering, it just says Super Smash Brothers and the system name itself as well. Beautiful console though. Inside, sometimes they don't put that many details on the system, so these are mostly just plain black inside, which is a missed opportunity in my opinion, but still really cool to have a theme system. Next up, another top 10 console in my entire collection is the Samus edition, or the Metroid edition of this 3DS XL. I'm just wondering if this one actually does have a name to it. Samus edition is all they called it, Samus. So this one has a honeycomb chrome, I would call it orange look to this. It's absolutely gorgeous. It has Samus on the front cover there as well. On the back though, it's the other color of her suits. I guess it's a little bit more yellow or gold. And then inside the system, if I can open this up for you, look what they did. It's just back to being plain black, which kind of does suck. But this one is the new Nintendo 3DS XL, not just the Nintendo 3DS. So new Nintendo 3DS XL. Then over here we have the new Super Mario Bros. 2 edition with Mario on it, with some, like, I would kind of call them gold detail, but it's not really quite gold, maybe metallic-y, and a level in the background. On the back, we've got Luigi with some more decals, and then let's just open this one up and see if it's just black. Yep, it's just black as well. Now, a way to tell if you're dealing with a 3DS or a new Nintendo 3DS, one of the quick ways to tell anyways is usually the buttons are colored, and some of them have the circle pad. So if you look down here, you can see that this one has colored buttons and this one does not have colored buttons, and this one has the little nub. Maybe not a circle pad, but a little C-stick nub, they wanted to call it, for the new Nintendo 3DS. Sticking to this side, because I'm already over here, we have that Spice Orange Game Boy Advance that I talked about. Then the DSi. This one is bright blue. I'm not sure the exact name of this version, but there's so many DS colors out there, and this is a DSi. Just a little bit better than the original DS, but a lot larger than the DS Lite. And then we have the DSi XL. So this system is a lot larger. It's huge in comparison to the DSi. And the only thing better about this system is, like I said, it's bigger. And there are a lot of different color variations out there. So I got this one quite recently in the last year or so at a swap meet as well for a trade, which I thought was a really cool option. Over here, I'm just going to stick with the systems for a moment. I have a brand new, unused Game Boy Micro. This one still has the price tag on it from the place that sold it to me. I paid $180. No, back then I think it was $150 basically. It was around $150. I'm not sure what this is worth now. This is the silver version, but it comes with different face plates. And I don't even want to open this up because it is still factory sealed. I have a second box, but not the system quite yet, for the other version that was the black version, actually. It's weird. The silver one came in the black box, and the black one came in a silver box. And there are other variations of this out there for Club Nintendo and for Earthbound or Mother in Japan and things like that. Really expensive, tiny, tiny system that was almost unusable for a lot of people to read text in games, but it did fit in your pocket really well. It's more of a novelty item, I think. Then the Game Boy Advance SP, by the way. I've got two colors, the red and the blue. Don't know if those have special names, by the way. And then this IQ Limited Edition, which is the AGS 101. So down here it says IQ on it, which makes it quite rare. I'm not actually sure what this is worth. I did a bit of a trade and bought this at a game swap. So thank you very much if you were the one. You can comment below if you know what this is worth, because I have no clue. It does have a sticker on this, and there is where it says AGS 101 right there by my thumb. So this system is a really cool, unique item in my collection. And then we have a box for new Nintendo 2DS XL that's orange and white, or cream and white, and this one I don't actually have the system for yet. Moving to some accessories, I have the e-reader, still factory sealed, but I also have one opened right there, so I want to thank Mark and some other people for helping me get those and some cards. And then the Nintendo Wi-Fi USB connector for the DS. And I also have some, I guess, cases back here, and a few others that are hidden around. I have a Mario version that's similar to this, that's pixelated. Love this one with little Triforce pieces on the, on the zipper. And then you have hearts below Link as he holds up the third piece of the Triforce. And I've got a few other ones of those hanging around. So I believe that is all of my handheld systems, especially if you include the Nintendo Switch that I have over here, the Switch Lite. This is the Pokémon Shield and Sword Edition, or Zacian and Zamazenta Edition. And then I also have the Virtual Boy, but just the box. I don't have the system yet, guys. I really do want to get the system for this. It's just so expensive, but I found the box and the instructions and that weird cardboard insert for it, but I really need to get the system. So please comment below, what is your favorite handheld system? In my entire collection, I think I have 33 handheld systems. Comment below, what is your favorite handheld system that I have? What's your favorite one that you've ever owned? And if you want to post a video of your home console or handheld collection, I'd love to check it out. The only other thing I should mention about this is I tried to set this up with a plug that's down here in behind, kind of hard to see, but it's right there, so that sometimes I can just put my system back, plug it in like that, and it's charging while it's also on display. So I might have some other systems that are lying around or lent out to friends that I'm not really sure about, but these are all the ones with the boxes anyways that I have in my collection. Thanks so much for watching. Stay safe, everyone. Remember, as always, go collect them all, keep smiling while gaming, and I hope to bring you another video sometime soon. Thanks for watching, everyone.